3 years ago, I made a decision that felt selfish, risky, and completely against everything I've been taught about being a good woman. That decision led me to create Third Act Society. Not because it made me rich, not yet, but because it connected me to the work I'm meant to do. The most incredible part, the women who called me back to share what happened when they finally gave themselves permission to want more. I'm Ronnie from Third Act Society, and for over 50 years, I believe that wanting more time, more recognition, more fulfillment, more anything was somehow selfish or ungrateful. I was the woman who always said, "Oh, I'm just grateful for what I have," when asked about my dreams or ambition. Today, I'm sharing the exact moment everything shifted for me. How that mindset change led me to start Third Act Society, and most importantly, the incredible transformations I've witnessed when women finally give themselves permission to pursue what they actually want. It was a completely ordinary Tuesday afternoon. I was in my kitchen and my best friend was complaining about her job for what felt like the 847th time. She kept asking me what she should do, and without thinking I said, "What would you do if you didn't need anyone's permission to want what you want?" That question, it hit me like lightning. I realized I'd been asking permission to want things my entire adult life. Permission to want a bigger career, permission to want better treatment, permission to want time for myself, permission to even admit I had ambition beyond making everyone else comfortable. That night, I sat down and wrote a list of everything I wanted, but I'd been too afraid or too polite to pursue. The list shocked me. I'd been living such a small version of my life, not because I lacked capability or opportunity, but because I'd convinced myself that good women don't want more than they have. Looking at the list, I felt this mixture of excitement and terror. Excitement because I finally admitted what I actually wanted. Terror because wanting it felt dangerous. And if you're thinking, "But wanting is selfish," I used to believe that too. But I'm going to share what I learned about the difference between healthy ambition and actual selfishness. I realized I had 3 permission stories running my life, and I bet you have them too. Number 1 is the gratitude trap. I should be grateful for what I have. This sounds spiritual, but it's actually just fear disguised as virtue. Gratitude and ambition are not opposites, they are partners. You can appreciate what you have and want it to expand. Number 2 is the scarcity myth. If I get more, someone else gets less. This assumes there's only so much success, money, or happiness to go around. But when you create value, which is what happens when you pursue your real goal, you expand the pie for everyone. Number 3 is the worthiness question. Do I deserve this? Wrong question entirely. The right question is, what becomes possible when I act like I deserve this? You don't have to earn the right to want good things. You already deserve them because you exist. And what happened when I stopped asking permission? Glad you asked. I decided to test what would happen if I pursue one thing from my list without seeking anyone's approval or permission. I had this idea about helping women navigate life transitions. Something I'd been thinking about for years, but I'd never acted on it because I couldn't get consensus from my friends about whether it was realistic. Instead of asking anyone's opinion, I just started. I began having conversations with women in my network about their challenges and transitions. I started documenting what I learned. I quietly began creating something meaningful. For the first time in my adult life, I wasn't polling people about my choices. I was making them based on my own judgment and values. That became Third Act Society. Not because it was a guaranteed moneymaker, but because it felt like the work I was meant to do. But here's what surprised me most. The transformation wasn't just mine. When I started giving myself permission to want more, it gave other women permission to do the same. But this transition wasn't smooth. I had to unlearn decades of conditioning about what makes a woman good, and I'm going to share what I learned from the women who made this journey with me. Let me share what I've learned from the incredible women who've called me back to share their stories. There's Maria, who called several months after our conversation about permission to want more. She'd been in an unsatisfying marriage for 15 years, staying because she thought living would be selfish. After giving herself permission to want joy and partnership, instead of just stability, she had the difficult conversation that either transformed her marriage or gave her clarity to live. Her marriage transformed. A few months ago, she told me it's like being married to a completely different person because she became a completely different person. Then there's Jennifer, who's been dreaming of art school since she was 25. She kept saying, "It's too late. My family needs me to be practical." Practical for who? When she finally gave herself permission to want creative fulfillment, she enrolled in evening art class. She called me crying, happy tears, because she'd forgotten what it felt like to be excited about her own life. The pattern I keep seeing: when one woman stops asking permission to want more, she unconsciously gives every woman around her permission to do the same. It creates ripples. I've actually completed a permission to want more workbook that walks you through breaking free from these barriers with specific exercises and scripts for handling the guilt and pushback. Let me tell you more about that in just a moment. Every woman faces these barriers. Here are the permission barriers that kept us small. Every woman faces 3 barriers when she starts wanting more. Barrier number 1, the good girl programming. We've been trained to be accommodating, selfless, and satisfied with less. Wanting more feels like breaking a sacred rule about feminine virtue. But here's what Maria taught me. Playing small doesn't serve anyone. When you pursue your real goals, you model possibility for every woman watching you, including your own children. Barrier number 2, the fear of judgment. What will people think if I want something bigger? Here's what Jennifer discovered. The people who judge your ambition are usually struggling with their own unrealized desires. Your expansion threatens their excuses for staying small. Barrier number 3, the imposter syndrome. Who am I to want this? Here's what I've learned from every woman who's called me back. You're someone with unique experiences, skills, and perspectives. Your combination of qualities has never existed before, and it will never exist again. If you don't pursue what you're meant to create, who will? Here's the ripple effect I never expected. When I stopped apologizing for wanting to help women navigate life transitions, something beautiful happened. Women started calling me, not because I was marketing to them, but because word spread that there was someone who understood their struggles and didn't judge their ambitions. Some became clients, yes, but many just needed someone to say, your dreams aren't too big and your desires aren't selfish. The most fulfilling call I get are months later when they tell me what happened when they finally gave themselves permission. Sarah started a consulting business she's been dreaming about for 5 years. Not because I told her to, but because our conversation helped her realize she'd been seeking permission instead of trusting her expertise. Lisa went back to school at 52 to become a therapist. She calls every semester to share her progress, and her joy is contagious. Here's the truth about permission. When you give yourself permission to want more, you become living proof for other women that it's possible. Your courage becomes their permission slip. This is what becomes possible when women stop asking permission to want what they want. But making this shift requires specific strategies for handling the guilt and resistance that will come up. Here's how to start giving yourself permission today, based on what I've learned from the women who've made this journey. Step 1, write your uncensored want list. I did. What would you want if nobody else's opinion mattered? Include everything: career goals, creative dreams, lifestyle changes, relationship improvement. Don't edit yourself. Step 2, identify your permission stories. For each major want, ask, what story am I telling myself about why I can't have this? Whose permission am I seeking? Step 3, start with small experiment. You know me by now. Don't try to boil the ocean. Pick one item from your list and take one action toward it this week without asking anyone's opinion. Build evidence that wanting more is safe. And step 4, practice unapologetic language. Stop saying, oh, I know this sounds selfish, but start saying, this is important to me because. Own your desires without apology. Step 5, find your permission community. Connect with women who are also giving themselves permission to want more. Your expansion will inspire theirs, and theirs will inspire yours. Here's the question that sealed it for me. What legacy do I want to leave? Do I want to be remembered as the woman who played it safe and made everyone comfortable? Or as the woman who pursued her potential and showed others what's possible? Every time you pursue what you really want, you give another woman permission to do the same. Every time you stop apologizing for your ambitions, you model what's possible. Your courage becomes her permission slip. That Tuesday afternoon question changed my life. What would you do if you didn't need anyone's permission to want what you want? The most beautiful part has been watching other women answer that questions for themselves and call me back to share what's possible. That permission to want more workbook I mentioned gives you the framework for making this shift. Exercises for identifying your uncensored desires, scripts for handling guilt and pushback, and a step-by-step plan for pursuing what you actually want without apology. You can get that free using the link in the description. And if you're ready to completely transform your relationship with ambition and want personalized support for claiming what you actually want, I work individually with women who are serious about stopping the small life game. We uncover real desires, dismantle the guilt patterns keeping you stuck, and create a concrete plan for building the life you actually want. If you're tired of asking permission to want more, you can learn more about working together using the link below. What's one thing you want but haven't given yourself permission to pursue? Share in the comment. Your courage to name it might give another woman permission to want it too. Remember, your desires aren't too big. Your dreams aren't unrealistic. Your wants aren't selfish. The question isn't whether you deserve to want more. The question is what becomes possible when you finally give yourself permission to pursue it. And who else gets permission when they see your courage? Your permission to want more starts now.